So I'm Kate Drain from Indiegogo, and we are so excited to have the Indiegogo team. Can everybody from Indiegogo raise their hand? Yay. Yeah, so these wonderful people helped to put on this event, and Yvonne and Brett, you guys were phenomenal. Erica, in making this all happen. Thank you guys. So tonight is going to be all about the road to retail. And for all of you who have launched a product, you know how difficult it can be. So we're here to help, to use the phrase from Kate, to demystify retail and the road to retail. And to start off, and so Kate, will you kick us off?
Yeah, raise your hand if you're from Target here. 4 people. Okay, cool. Got some Target folks. Yeah, welcome to Target Open House. Who hasn't been to Open House before? If this is your first time here. Okay, awesome. Glad to see that some of you have. My name is Kate Whitcomb. I head up merchandising and business development for our San Francisco Innovation Office based here. I'm joined tonight by Matt Leiser over there, raise your hand, Matt, and Josh Crane from the Target team. So they are Target buyers who came out for this event to hear some pitches and to help kind of contribute their story with how we work with startups.
Right. And so what to expect from tonight? Oops, oh yeah. So what to expect from tonight? That we're going to have a panel. We're joined here by Matthew, the CMO of Misfit, by Dave Mann, the Indiegogo COO. Am I standing in the wrong place? Is it mine? Hello.
Sorry guys, you guys are.
Let's just kill this.
Hello, is my mic work? No. Hello.
Kate, turn back on off.
Okay. All right. So we're so excited to be here, joined by Misfit, by Target, and also we have 3 amazing of our Indiegogo campaigners who are going to be pitching on behalf to the Target team to get feedback from Target buyers. You guys, I'm just going to talk to you just for a second. Yeah. And so we're so excited to be joined here by Matthew. He's here from. What?
Everything is on Kate.
But we're so excited to be joined here by Matthew, the CMO of Misfit, who has huge news today.
Yeah, whoa, okay, it's happening to me too. It's kind of a cool science fiction thing. Yeah. Ironic to be surrounded by all this technology and it's
They're trying to suck it.
okay.
This is our last show.
Are we there? No. Okay, I'll just yell. How about that?
Yeah.
Everyone's so close, right? So I'm honored to be here with these distinguished panel members, and thank you very much to Target and Indiegogo. So for those of you who don't know, and we'll talk a bit more about this, but Misfit is a product that started on Indiegogo around 3 years ago, and we actually were acquired today. So perfect timing. I'd love to say we planned it, but it just actually happened this way. So we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, and so we're so excited. So that's why we have champagne. So if people with glasses could raise it to Misfit, congratulations. We're so proud of you, and onward and upward. Congratulations. It's just like for us, it's so exciting and so inspiring to see a story that started on Indiegogo and to see what great things can happen when people work really hard and hustle and have a great strategy. And we'll hear more about it today.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, all right, so we're going to start the panel now. Hopefully we'll have a mic that is not hot, not a hot mic. What do you guys think we can do about this?
Well, I feel like it might be being near one of these things, is my guess. So maybe I was looking to this phone is here.
Yeah, I have nothing.
She's got nothing.
I have nothing.
She's not live.
I'm not live.
One of them should work.
Okay. Yeah, just use the one and pass it around.
Okay.
If it doesn't, we'll yell.
Hello? Okay. This is better. Sorry guys, sorry about your ears. I'm sorry about that. My head hurts. I can't imagine you guys. So We're so excited to have all of you here. Again, my name is Kate, and I'm the Senior Director of Outreach for Indiegogo. I've been with the team for 3.5 years. I'm so excited to have been with the Misfit team when they first launched on Indiegogo. I remember sitting in the conference room at our first office, and Sunny, their CEO, making a very nice spectacle of launch. It should be like, oh, here's our product, the Misfit Shine, and we're like, oh, and like we're very excited. So now I wear one around my neck. You guys, if you haven't seen it, it's awesome. Come find me later. And so tonight, it's all going to be about the road to retail and the role that all of us play in the road to retail. So first off, Matthew, I'd love for you to start and give us a brief overview about the Misfit Shine and your Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah, of course. So Sunny was supposed to be here tonight, so any of you who came expecting Sunny, I'm terribly sorry. I'm the B squad, so forgive me for that. But for obvious reasons, so hopefully you can forgive him. He actually had to do an earnings call today. We were actually, you could Google it right now, but we were acquired by Fossil Group, and that was an absolutely strategic acquisition for them and for us. We were acquired for $260 million, and considering we weren't worth much of that at all 3 years ago, that's not terribly bad. So our journey really with Indiegogo started actually before that. We raised money and before we actually started the partnership. And I think what makes that really interesting is that we used that relationship and that exposure in the platform really to find out more about our customer. And probably if I leave you with one thing, I think that was one of the single largest strategic differences in terms of what we did. The money was great, but what we actually saw in the process of releasing the Shine, developing the Shine, was an amazing amount of engagement, raising the money, I think, in 8 hours. Is that right? Something like that, raising $800,000 in 8 hours. But we also learned at the time, obviously, Indiegogo was the platform that would take participants from other countries. And so when we got backers from other countries, all of a sudden that started a dialogue that opened up a discussion in a user group at that point around the world that only continued as we grew the brand, which was really powerful as well. And in that process as well, we ended up getting a number of different points of feedback from our user group, or our initial user group, that included expand into colors, make it a necklace, that kind of thing. So really an amazing way to connect with our consumers before we even had consumers. As we proceeded, and I don't know if you want more on Misfit? Is that?
And like talk about your road to being acquired.
Oh, sure.
It's amazingness.
Yeah, okay, all this amazingness. All right. Yeah, so in the next couple of years, we do what product companies do in terms of really realize that you started with this revolutionary idea, and what you actually ended up doing is dropping yourself in the middle of a category that was incredibly saturated, very competitive, super hardball. And I think in that process, we started to learn really what was truly differentiated and special. And the way that I think about that is that we have a brand, or we have a company that sits at the intersection of technology and fashion. The inspiration for Misfit from the beginning was that it feel more like a piece of jewelry than to feel like wearable technology. And you really see that in the space right now. Most of what happens in the space is a lot of plastic, a lot of plugs, a lot of everything. And for some people that's great, but we just felt like there was a user group and there was a vast amount of people who were interested in something more. So the way we talk about that now, and really on kind of on the backs of this journey, we think about that proposition. We call it always on, and really the idea with always on is very simple. It's that the driving force behind Misfit from the beginning was, we can collect better data and we can be more relevant in people's lives if they just don't take it off. Not like in a creepy Orwellian sense, like we want it to fuse to their body, but like ultimately what happens is, you know, and we've all been there, you buy you're super excited about this device, you buy it, you put it on, and after a while you take it off to go swimming, you take it off to charge it, and it sits on the desk a little bit longer than it should, and eventually you just stop wearing it. So really the strategy behind the brand and behind the products specifically are always on. So we created it first and foremost to be beautiful, so that it was just as worthy of your wrist from your workout to a night out. It's aircraft grade aluminum, so it is durable. It may be beautiful, but it's durable. It doesn't need to be charged for 6 months, so you don't have to take it off to charge it. It's waterproof, so you don't have to take it off to take a shower even, or go swimming. Maybe that's kind of nasty, I'm not sure. But at any rate, all of these things really built our proposition to say that this is a product that you could live with. So the journey forward was a series of releases. Just about a month and a half ago, we released Shine 2, which is the new and improved version of Shine, which is what we launched with. And we've had a series of other products that have come along as well that have done great, including Flash, including link capability within our products, which just simply means that you can actually reprogram the device to be a remote control to take selfies, control your music, and so on. And then, of course, we're definitely getting into that Internet of Things, whether you like that term or not, and really excited to be getting into the space of connected light bulb and other things that, as time goes on, we want to have our activity trackers actually be the control tools for that. So marching up to today, we just not that long ago, a couple months ago, we started a partnership with Fossil, and it was really meant to be a technology integration. Fossil has done really actually awesome work to start to get into the space of wearables. They've been in the space for a good 7 years or so. And more recently, they launched a brand called Fossil Q, which was their wearable, their watch and bracelet and some other connected items. And so they asked us to come on board to think about being a technology partner, and one thing led to another, and pretty soon they were so excited about what we were doing, they just wanted to grab us. And I think there was a bit of yeah, they wanted to get married. Yeah, weren't sure if we wanted to settle down, but no, we were definitely in love. They're amazing, and just from a strategic standpoint, I think what was so important is they were looking for that kind of capability in-house, and before that they had outsourced everything. What we were looking for is, as you guys know, the big player in the space is Fitbit, and Fitbit has spent a lot of money this year to get a lot of exposure. Fitbit also does a lot to dominate retail, so they're pretty much everywhere, and they have the largest shelf set. We may hang on a peg somewhere, and they have like a 8-foot display. Probably not 8 feet. I'm just bitter. But anyway, so Fitbit, and then of course Jawbone as well. And we knew that in order to take some big leaps forward, we needed a really significant distribution partner, which is of course Fossil Group, as well as just being great creative partners as well. So, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Great job. And so now I want to bring it down actually to you, Josh. So a big part of your guys' success was from retail as well. And so for you, Josh, you are sourcing, you are bringing all these great products, helping to bring these great products to life. So just tell us a little bit about what does Target look for when you're sourcing products?
Sure. Hi, Josh Evans. I'm a buyer at Target. As a buyer, you're the CEO of your own little business within Target, whatever category you're running, and you're ultimately responsible for your customer when we refer to them as our guest. And in every category, you're wondering, what are the needs and wants of my guest? How am I anticipating the needs and wants of my guest? So what products can I bring to my store that are going to meet those needs and wants? So when you're out there looking in the world of products, that's the first thing you're always thinking about is your guest. Would they like this product at Target? There's a lot of tech-savvy guests, but there's a lot of tech-savvy people that don't necessarily shop at Target. We want to find that happy medium. I think Matthew hit the nail on the head. There's the aspect of the Target guest. There's a lot of things that are different about Target. We have a very style and fashion-forward guest. So something that their company hits on the head with their products is it meets the need of a technological need, but also something that our guest looks for from us from a style standpoint. There's a lot of other things we look at: price. What other capabilities the company has in terms of their distribution network. That's something that you guys are investing in. That's a huge important thing for products at Target. So it's a happy medium of, do you have a product that makes sense for our guests? Do you have a product that aligns with target needs? And then what capabilities do you guys have that are going to enter you into a world of working with a big behemoth mass retailer?
And so, Dave, there's a lot of these products coming to life on Indiegogo. So can you tell us a little bit about the products that are launching on Indiegogo and how Indiegogo supports them?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's interesting for Indiegogo because, it often is the case that Indiegogo sort of gets grouped in as sort of like a crowdfunding platform, but, our offices are only 2 blocks away here, and we don't actually see it that way. Like, we recognize that crowdfunding is part of what happens on Indiegogo, but the way that we really see ourselves and the way that we talk about it, here and in our satellite offices, is that we really see ourselves as a platform for entrepreneurs. And we are, we like to think of ourselves first as sort of a springboard to help get that product up and build awareness for that product. And then we've been working a lot with people like Target and others to help entrepreneurs all the way through the process. So not just in raising money, but then in helping with manufacturing and ultimately helping with distribution and ultimately helping with retail, which is part of why we forged this wonderful relationship with Target. What we found is that people were raising money on Indiegogo, and then they wouldn't always have a fully developed plan for the next steps. And we found that because of the many relationships and the amount that we learned with working with so many hardware manufacturers and other forms of entrepreneurs, we found that we could be helpful in really working with entrepreneurs all the way through the life cycle. And it's been really exciting for us. It's funny. Our team actually at Indiegogo got the news about the Misfit deal. I think about 3 hours ago, maybe. Was it just that long ago that it was announced? And everybody at Indiegogo is high-fiving each other because we feel so embedded with the entrepreneurs on our platform that when our entrepreneurs are successful, it feels like our strategy of working closely with entrepreneurs all the way through the life cycle makes sense, and it feels, in a lot of ways, it feels like a win for us. One other thing that I'll add is, beyond crowdfunding, beyond just raising money, what we're finding is that Indiegogo is an amazing platform for people, I think it was mentioned earlier, just to get champions for that product, to get exposure for the product, to get people that are excited about the product. Many companies it's also a great way to get market validation. What will often happen is companies will get on Indiegogo, they'll demonstrate not only that they'll demonstrate that there's a huge market for the product, and then they'll go the traditional venture capital route potentially to raise a lot more money. I know Misfit did that, a lot of others on Indiegogo do that, and we encourage that because we recognize that that's part of the road to retail. Is at different times, maybe when you're tooling up, you need to raise a lot more money, and what's exciting for us is to be able to be part of that process because we know that a lot of the entrepreneurs that have raised money on Indiegogo use their Indiegogo campaign as validation for the fact that there is a market for that product and real validation from people plunking down real money, oftentimes over a year in advance of that product actually shipping. So we've been very excited to work closely with entrepreneurs all the way through the process, and in a way, even for us today feels like a very special day because maybe we just like to be able to do that, but we feel like in some ways we're really sharing in the success and definitely in the joy.
And you did spoil a couple, you took a couple of my questions later, so just spoiler alert though, those were coming later. But great job, you did a great job. So I want to talk now just about retail. As Dave was mentioning, you guys have sold in Target, in Best Buy, in Apple stores. Can you tell us about your strategy and how and there's a lot of, how many people here are entrepreneurs? That's awesome. Okay, yeah. So tell us about, so we have time for just a couple questions from the panel then, and just so we know from a time perspective, but I really want to know, how did you guys end up in retail? What was your strategy?
Yeah, I mean, probably like any startup, our strategy is where can we get traction? That's where we started. We worked networks. We talked to the people that we already knew, and certainly Sunny and Sridhar co-founders, along with John Scully, recently played by Jeff Daniels. Sridhar and Sunny actually had a business together before, and they had built some of those retail relationships. So, like, us getting into Apple right away was really a product of that relationship. So, very relational in that sense. But of course, like anything else, it can be dominoes. You get into a few, you show some velocity, and after that, other people want to talk to you, and you need to sell through, of course. But yeah, that's how it started.
And how did you get into Target? Do you know how your road to Target?
You know, I was probing around for that. I think Sam here, Griffin.
It's actually Justin.
It was Justin?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you want to come answer that? Got any interest in that?
We have another chair.
Yeah. Yeah. How Misfit got into Target?
Sure.
I wasn't prepared for this, and
Real life iterating.
don't have any jokes. But I'm actually a former merchant from Target as well, and I guess a retail veteran. Spent 14 years there, managed a variety of categories, everything from the sexy category of laundry detergent. Actually launched Method at Target, if people are familiar with Method. So I think it just it's been ingrained in me, being a merchant at Target, that, you know, like Josh said, you're always out there looking for innovation. You're looking for companies that are solving unmet needs. And you're looking for people that are, you know, finding the white space in categories that maybe haven't been disrupted. And so I'm on the other side, I guess, sort of speak of the table now, and that's what I do. I go out and I try to find innovation, find great brands, find people that are doing things innovative, and then I help them on that last mile to retail. So when we talk about demystifying retail, that's a lot of what we do. So I guess what I would describe we do, we help brands get retail ready. And so I do a lot of scouring on Indiegogo, big fan. And I literally reached out to Sunny blindly, just sent an email, said, here's who I am, here's what I'm about, and I love your brand, I love your product, I love what you're trying to do. I'd love to talk about your retail goals and see if it makes sense maybe for us to work together. And so it's, I guess it was something as simple as that, and Sunny was kind enough to return my email, and we talked, and we went and had meetings from there with Target. So, does that help?
Oh, that's great.
Thank
job.
you.
You're a good sport. All right.
So I have my last question for the panel before we get into the pitches, which is, again, there's a lot of amazing hardware entrepreneurs in this room. What advice would you give to an amazing, aspiring hardwarean?
I've done enough talking.
Okay. Yeah,
We'll start at the other end, John.
You know, my thing, if you're looking at big companies like Target, you know, keep trying. Timing is a lot of everything of what we do. We're a huge moving company. We're always looking for different things, but we're always changing roles, and it might not be the right time now. You guys might not have the right capabilities, but continue trying, leveraging all the relationships you have. There's been plenty of companies that have come to us 2-3 times before it made sense for our guests or before the right capabilities were there, but I think that's my biggest thing to you guys. Don't give up, and you know, sometimes Target may not be the right place. You know, you may have to start somewhere else. You may have to, you know, start smaller. So, you know, continue those relationships that you guys have out there, and something good will happen.
We didn't coordinate this, but Justin, I think, set us up really nicely for this. I would say that the main thing to do is it doesn't necessarily have to be ours, but use a platform to actually create exposure for your product. Make it easy for the buyers to select your product because you've already demonstrated an interest in it in a site like Indiegogo. It's you know, like I said earlier, it's so interesting the different ways people are using our platform, but it's such clear validation that there is a market for your product when not only is it on Indiegogo, but people are contributing to that product, and there's a lot of comments about the product that are saying, wow, this is interesting, I would love to see this get to market. I think it's, you know, it feels strange to talk about it, but in a way it's really sort of a whole new world where you can start to get real exposure for your product very, very early in its life cycle. And as you heard Justin say, it's really a wonderful way to get retailers interested early.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is, especially since we're here, San Francisco, Silicon Valley, a lot of emphasis is put on, you know, the degree and the speed at which we innovate. And I would also just encourage you that there is tons and tons of room for you to retool your idea to just disrupt a low interest category. And I know that sounds crazy, but we get so wrapped up here, and this is a great kind of alter to that in a really good way, that there's so much possible, but I think also often we feel very intimidated. I know we even at Misfit think of it this way. It's intimidating to step into these realms, whether it be a new retail partner or whether it be manufacturing. It's really intimidating. I love the reference to Method. I ran marketing at Method a couple years back, and that was the story of the brand. Like, who in God's name would think of making hand soap sexy? But they did, and with the mantra of making it counter-worthy. So I think there's just plenty of space to take your idea and really believe in your idea and find a home for it in retail.
Nice. Thank you, panel. You were amazing. Can we give them a round of applause? Matthew, thank you again for taking time out of this busy night. We know it's a huge night for you, so thank you for joining us here. And we're going to do a quick little set change, and we're going to move into our pitch night. Our pitch. Oh, we have questions. Do we have time for questions right now? Oh, excellent. Okay, guys. Questions, please. Oh, there's a hand in the back.
So it's a question for Dave, actually. I like the story of Target with Indiegogo. So my question is, and I've been talking to your team already, because those guys, they develop their product. The US market is nice, but there's Europe, those other guys around. So when you'll be able to talk to me, I represent some retailers, not the size of Target, which is very big, but kind of big, just to explore the possibility, help you to develop in the French market, European market, because we are in Europe mostly. When is that possible?
What are you doing right after this panel?
All right.
It's a great question, actually. About 30% of the campaigns that are on Indiegogo are coming from international markets, and it's a similar percentage of people that are contributing to campaigns that are on Indiegogo, and again, it's a very I think it'd be very worthwhile to talk. A platform like Indiegogo is a very inexpensive way to gain exposure in foreign markets, and this partnership with Target is actually very new to us. We're starting, we said we'll start with whatever we can do in a 2-block radius. Go. And so we started with a partnership with Target, but we'd be glad to talk about how we can help entrepreneurs that are on Indiegogo gain exposure in foreign markets.
Yeah, hi, my name's Steve Packer from KoalaSafe. We make a child-safe Wi-Fi access point. Question for Josh. When first-time entrepreneurs come to you, I guess there's 2 ways to have the relationship with Target. Either you're a direct vendor or you go through a distributor. Would you recommend one way or the other?
It's a loaded question. I would say it depends how established you guys are. There's a lot of just logistics that I don't even want to get into the detail about with getting items set up, just getting set up as a vendor at Target, that if you don't feel like you have someone who can spend a lot of time on those day-to-day, very tactical, very executional resources, one of those rep groups that Justin referenced is an excellent way to get in the door. It's someone who's very familiar with Target, our processes, someone who might even be on the ground in Minneapolis that could help you through those hurdles. Unless you have the resources from a manpower standpoint, and then obviously from a production standpoint as well, that's definitely a leg up that can help you, 1, establish a relationship that you might not already have, or 2, overcome the hurdles of just operating with a huge company like Target.
I have a question a bit for Matthew and for Josh. So basically, as an entrepreneur, you said initially you don't really know that you're going to end up in retail, but are there certain things you should consider right at the beginning that kind of hurt you along the way because you didn't consider them at the beginning already, that is like specific for retail?
So is the question, what are the things that you should consider when thinking about going into retail?
No, basically, initially you didn't know maybe that you're going to end up in retail.
Oh, I see.
Are there things that kind of hurt you because you didn't think about them from the beginning on?
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Well, in our case specifically, we knew we would go into retail. The product and the concept really relied on it. of course we could sell direct, and we do, but we knew that the ground war for this category really happens in retail. So I think from the kind of moment go, we knew that that's what we would be doing. I don't know, Josh, if you see another side.
I mean, a lot of people that don't realize, while we're a big company and all of our marketing is shiny and nice, we do have a lot of strict things that we require of our vendors when they do business with us. Like, for instance, if you're going to ship us and you're late, you're going to get penalized. If your product isn't productive, it's not likely to make it very long on our shelves. And if you're a small company, that might be a tough pill to swallow. Versus, we're a huge company. You're one of many vendors that I work with. While we would love to partner amazingly with all the vendors we work with, in a lot of these categories, it's quite competitive, and there is an opportunity cost to everything we do. So, other little things like when we promote a product, the vendor typically pays for that. When we clearance out of a product, the vendor typically pays for that. So there's a lot of things that to consider that are standard terms of doing business with a big company like Target that if you are a smaller company and you're newer to retail, you may not understand going in. So these guys probably had a relationship with Apple and with some other groups before they got in, but if you're a smaller company, there's a lot of things that might shock you when you start looking at the terms of doing business.
Maybe one more thing I'll throw on that is that I think Target is a really great example, as Josh said, looking for essentially alignment of values. Look for retailers that really have an aspiration for their customer or their guest as you do. I think that means you have an immediate conversation to start and a certain amount of strategic alignment. For us, a good example is we did a partnership with Speedo, so we have a Shine that is co-branded with Speedo and has some additional functionality. And a conversation we've had with Target is, can they merchandise the Misfit Shine Speedo with goggles or with swimsuits? And that's not something you're really going to get in the Apple Store. So that could be very unique to a partnership like this. And we have a number of, we did one with Victoria's Secret, so it could be something like that as well. So.
Okay, one more question. Who's it going to be? Oh, you were enthusiastic.
Do you have any suggestions or advice on how to maybe market or position or design products for Indiegogo and how that might be different later down the line when you want to get into retail?
Good question. I want to make sure I understand the question. So the question is how you might want to design your product for Indiegogo that would potentially be different than what the product would ultimately be at retail. Yeah, one thing that I think is really worthwhile is if you can actually find a good entry point into the market, and try to stay somewhat focused on a single product that will get broad exposure. What I really think you want to be able to do on Indiegogo is show that people will be very interested in your product, and it's nice to sort of have a focus. You might be thinking about a full suite of products, but it might be nice to create a lot of attention around a single product just to draw a lot of attention to that product, a lot of discussion about that product, and to help retailers see that there is demonstrated interest and demand for that product. Potentially as opposed to a broad suite of products that maybe will show mixed level of excitement.
Now just add on, the average Target guest is not on a site like Indiegogo looking at products. So you're not going to have those early adopters, those tech-savvy folks. And while that's where you're going to market first, you need to think about that next step of how am I going to educate the masses around this product? Again, how am I going to communicate what it does in a simpler way? Simplicity is key in a lot of these categories that y'all are working in. So it is that next step of understanding who that core target guest is, and it might not be the same person that's on Indiegogo.
Maybe a page out of our book, I would say also you can use Indiegogo as an opportunity to refine that message, refine those features, refine the positioning that you think that you might have in the marketplace, and I think that would give you a distinct advantage when actually taking it to retailers.
Nice. Well, thank you guys. Thank you again, panel. You guys are amazing. And thank you guys for the questions, too. We will be around in the audience afterwards. Matthew will probably not. Oh, excellent. Okay. So we're going to do a little set change. So bear with us for just a couple minutes while we get our demos ready. So 2 seconds. Thank you.